So it's time for me to do some drawing in this sketchbook again, and hopefully I can think of something to draw, because if I can't, then, well, it wouldn't look very good on my behalf, considering that in this video I thought I could talk about what you can do if you don't know what to draw. So I've decided to make this video in relation to what I discussed in the last one that I made, where I talked a bit about overthinking your artwork. And when you are trying to figure out what to draw, that's when you find yourself thinking a lot. And I see a lot of people commenting saying they don't know what to draw, and I can also relate to this. I'm sure a lot of us can. So here I'm going to give you a few examples of what you can do when you don't know what to draw. And the main objective of all of these is just to get yourself drawing. It doesn't really matter what it is, because that's the hard part, right, is to actually start. And so let's go through a few of these solutions. So the first one is to use some prompts, and you've probably seen this a lot before, most likely when something called Inktober comes around, and a lot of artists are often doing a drawing each day and they are following a list of different prompts and creating artwork in relation to those. And this seems to really help a lot of people and assists them in coming up with ideas. But you don't only have to do this for Inktober. For instance, there's many websites out there that generates random prompts for you. To give an example, the drawing that I'm creating in this video, I got the idea for this from a prompt generator. But what's cool is that it doesn't just have to be one word. You are able to generate all kinds of things like situations, phrases, characters, even storylines and things like that. And then you can base your artwork around them. And so in terms of this drawing, I went over to one of these websites and generated a situation, and this is what it gave me. Thank goodness they finally sent someone, things are getting out of control. And so from this few lines of text, this situation, I read this and immediately I was thinking of a scene where maybe there's a lot of chaos being caused by something, and then there's also something there that is trying to stop it and keep things under control. Now of course I still had to use my imagination a bit, and that's why I just totally went with this. And there's this image here in this drawing where there's this giant toad destroying a city, and the army has turned up with tanks and helicopters. I don't think I'll say that sentence ever again. But this is an example of how a small prompt like that can then be used as a basis for generating ideas for your drawings. And a lot of these problems in not knowing what to draw is the fact that there is sometimes too much to draw. Like, you can literally draw anything, and sometimes that leads to us not being able to make a decision. And so a prompt like this helps you narrow that down and lets you plan your idea around something that's more focused. And so yeah, I'd definitely recommend having a look at some of these prompt websites. There's plenty of them around that are useful. In fact, I think I'm going to use you guys right now and ask you to comment down below and make up a prompt for me to base a drawing on. I think that would be a really cool idea if you give me a situation, or maybe one word or a sentence, anything really. Just leave a comment and I'll read through them and pick some of them out to use for a drawing, and I'll create a video and put your comments in the video. But anyways, let's move on to number 2. Okay, so moving on to the next thing you can do if you don't know what to draw, and this one is all about giving you relevant information that you can then use, and it assists you in generating ideas. So what I'd recommend you do is head over to a website like Pinterest, and this is a really useful resource for finding similar artwork or images around subjects that interest you. And it's also a good source for finding reference images, because when you type in a word, you are shown all of these different images that relate to that, and then all of these images can inspire you or give you some good ideas for creating your own drawings. And you are also able to save images on that site, and then it will continuously suggest similar images around subjects that you are interested in. If you only like drawing specific things, for example, then you can tailor this website to only present images around those things. And the images that you find here will be a lot more relevant than those that you found on Google. And so it turns into this go-to source of inspiration that a lot of artists should take advantage of. Now this one is all about just getting you drawing anything, because like I said, a lot of time is wasted thinking about what to draw instead of drawing. And if you only have so much time in the day to actually draw, then you want to make the most of it. So all of the thinking can be done when you are away from the drawing table, and I suppose that's like a tip in itself, and that's to try and do all of your thinking and planning for what you want to draw when you are doing other things throughout the day. I mean, I'm not encouraging you to daydream at work or in class if you go to school, even though that's what I found myself doing quite a lot, but I'd try and make use of any free time that you seem to get throughout the day when you are away from home, because then when you do get home, you want to spend that time drawing, and you don't want to sit down to draw and then spend half of that time thinking or procrastinating, even though that's easier said than done. And so yeah, try and get an idea of what you want to draw before you sit down to draw, and I always try and visualize ideas in my head before I actually draw them. Or I sometimes get a piece of paper or a sketchbook and sketch out some rough ideas, but more often than not, a lot of my ideas are developed in my head, and then I have like a final image in my head that I start to draw, which is probably a bit inefficient compared to sketching some stuff out on paper first, but it's whatever works best for you. I'd try both methods, but try and get a good idea of what you want to draw before you sit down to draw. That way you are maximizing all of that time you have to drawing, if that makes sense. I'm saying drawing and draw quite a lot in this sentence, so let's move on to the next one. Okay, so this one is all about studying drawing, and when I say studying drawing, I'm talking about learning the fundamentals, because it's something that we should all spend time doing. So how does this relate to not knowing what to draw? Well, more often than not, when you are thinking of what to draw, you are likely thinking of a finished piece, right? Like you want to create a drawing for the purpose of it being a final drawing. But instead of doing that, why not think of something for the purpose of studying? For instance, if you are learning anatomy, then try doing some figure drawing or draw something that isn't necessarily a finished piece, but instead is an exercise to improve at something, and your intention is to become more familiar with that subject. You are using drawing as a tool to learn. You are learning all of these things that will make you a better artist, and then when you come to draw that finished piece, you will be able to do that with a lot more confidence, and you are able to have different intentions when you are drawing, and so working out the reason why you want to draw something can often assist in you deciding on what you should draw. So finally we are up to number 5, and in all honesty, I don't really have much to say for this one. I kind of just wanted to round this video up to 5, right? But I'm just going to talk about a few things to conclude this video. So all of the things that I have discussed here today can help you in figuring out what you want to draw. But a lot of the time it does come down to your own ideas and how you use these methods that I have talked about today, and then you build on them with your imagination and your own sort of perception of these things. And so it's these ideas that I think are the most valuable. Anyone can learn to draw, everyone has the ability to practice and learn what they need to in order to improve, but there isn't this direct path or step-by-step process when it comes to thinking up ideas. I mean, there's many things that can influence ideas, but whatever these things are can vary between individuals. And it's this variation that makes something like the art community so engaging, because there's so much out there, so many different artists expressing themselves and their ideas in their own way. And it's not just artwork, this is evident in music, films, games, whatever it is, these all started as ideas. And so it's important to recognise we should all take time to appreciate all of these things. And it's like a chain reaction, because one person's creation can then be the catalyst for another person's ideas. And then finally, what's most important is to act on these ideas, to bring them to life. And I think that's all I really want to say for this video. I hope you can take something away from this, and also be sure to comment down below and leave a drawing prompt for me, a situation, a word or a phrase, anything really. But yeah, if you enjoyed this video, then please leave a like. I publish drawing tutorials and videos like this every week, so if you want to subscribe with the notifications on, you probably won't miss anything if you have the notifications on. Also consider following me on Instagram and Twitter for artwork, updates and more. I have another channel called Dan Creates with more content. And finally, I have a Patreon page where I upload study documents, real-time drawing footage and bonus content. But that's pretty much everything, so thank you for watching.